I waited 15 years for this, pretty much. 15 years. I was about 13 when this film came out. 13. In middle school. And now I'm in my late 20s. That's a sign of how old I'm getting. But I am excited for this movie. I am really excited. I'm probably more excited than I am for Toy Story 4 that's coming out next year. That Frozen 2 or any of those other movies. I've been waiting for this movie for so long. And I have high hopes for it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be really good. In about an hour or so, I'm going to go out and leave and see it at my local theater. And I was thinking of going at an earlier one, but decided I want to get a bite to eat first, and then I can just get a small popcorn and don't have to spend the extra money because theaters are expensive these days. I don't want to go around spending $20 on all that, so I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be really good. I just wonder how great it's going to be. And I also wonder if the pizza plant truck is going to be in there. It wasn't in the first one, so I wonder if it's going to be in there or not. I'll be on the lookout for it, as well as A113 and any Toy Story reference. But I know it's going to be good. I know it is. It's going to be great. So, whenever I see the movie, I'll make a review of it, and you can pretty much expect it's going to be great. Hey, look at that, a bunny! Ah, it's gone. But, yep, I know it's going to be good. And you can expect that I'm pretty sure you'll like it too. This movie was totally wicked! Those people surely are The Incredibles. I was right to idolize Pixar. They are just really good at this kind of stuff. But making a movie like this, I'm still geeking out about it. It really was a pretty good movie in my opinion. It was really impressive, and I think it was really worth the wait. I liked it a lot. It was just, it didn't get to my expectations. I loved it so much. But before we get to that, let's go over that little short story they had before The Incredibles started. I think it was called Boy, I don't know, but so it started off with this woman going and making this food and putting some stuffing inside it, and her and her husband go and eat it. Then she tries to go and eat the last one, and for some reason it's alive. But so it grows some arms and legs, and instantly she treats it like a baby. And I was really confused at this point. I'm just thinking, how is this happening? This doesn't make any sense. But the little thing goes and grows up, and at first it likes being with its mother, but then it gets big and it doesn't like that anymore. And it gets really funny at this point where it goes and brings home this girlfriend, and the mom's just like, and she's trying to go and shoo the girlfriend away and say, no, you're staying with me, and she doesn't want any of that, so she goes and eats it. So he won't go and get married. She eats him. And it was really weird, but so after that, she's seen crying and depressed about it, and the father comes in, and then he, I guess, pretty much says that she has a guess, and it's the boy. Except now he's a human. So was he human all along? Did she just, I don't know, but it was a really sweet story. I liked it. It did almost get me teary-eyed. It was probably one of my favorite Pixar shorts in a long time. I really liked this one. It's definitely around my top right there. It was incredible. Ugh. But it was sweet. It was sad. I liked it. So, before I do The Incredibles 2, what did I think of The Incredibles? It is definitely one of my favorite of the Pixar movies probably. I always liked it. It's always been one of my favorites. It's a really, really good movie, I guess, because it's kind of took Pixar in another direction. It was their first movie to have a full human cast, and before that they always had animals or objects or anything like that, but with that movie they had a full human cast, and it was also just a little bit more darker. They took different turns by killing people and everything like that, so I always liked it. Syndrome was always a really cool villain. I always liked him. He's one of my favorite Pixar villains, and he's probably a lot of people's favorite Pixar villain. He's just, when you go and see him and just the way he acts and his plans, and you just can't help but like him. So, The Incredibles, it is definitely one of my favorite movies, but where does The Incredibles 2 go? So this movie is pretty much, it takes place right after the first one. It starts off with the Underminer doing all his weird stuff and going and attacking the city, and the family knows that they need to go and save the city and prevent this guy from doing whatever. So they are able to go and do that, but not without a lot of destruction happening. Not a lot of the city, but parts of the city go and get pretty bent up. So people are pissed at them, pissed enough that the family does get arrested. So after they're left out, they go to this motel that they're living in because their house was destroyed. So in the last movie, there Bob and Helen go and talk about what are they going to do. What are they going to do now, because it looks like that superheroes aren't going to come back. It's going to stay this way, and with Bob having no job, they're living in this motel, things are looking pretty bad for them, so it doesn't look good. But then Frozone talks to them and tells them about how he met this one guy who's going to help them get back out there. He's going to show them that supers are good people, and he's going to legalize them again. So after a little talk, they do decide to go and look up this guy and see what he's about. So they go over there again, and he's just like, yeah, we're going to bring back superheroes. I remember back when I was a kid, them saving everyone. My dad idolized them, and he talks about how his parents were, or at least his dad was killed by one of the burglars who went to his home, and there was never a super there to go and save him. So he wants to go and bring supers back so that won't happen to more people. So at first they're kind of wondering whether they should do this. At least Helen is, but Bob is just like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to go back. But Helen's like, no, we can't do this. We have to move on. And Bob eventually goes and convinces her, no, we should do this. So they do agree, and Bob is just pretty much, I can't wait to get back to superhero work. But nope, he's saying it's going to be Ellen who is going to do this. Or not Helen, that's the other person. Helen is going to do this. And she's like, me? And he goes and pretty much talks about how when she saved the world, she pretty much did it in just a less messy manner. There wasn't as much destruction or anything like that, and because of that, she'll be the best way to go and get supers back out there. So she does decide to go along with it, and she's sent on her first mission, and when she does that, she has to go and stop a bunch of crimes and little crimes and everything like that. And eventually she gets to this one bigger crime where she has to go and save this train, and it reveals this one guy who's called Screensaver, who's going to be the villain of the movie. So Helen is trying to go and find out who this guy is, but she really quite can't, and she's having a hard time finding out where he's hiding and everything like that. And while this is happening, Bob is trying to go and just find ways to go and help or I guess be the stay-at-home dad. He's trying to go and help Violet with her dating life. He's trying to go and help Dash with his school life, and he's trying to go and help dad or the baby go, and just because of the baby, it's hard to take care of. So it's really hard for him. He can't get any sleep. Things are just getting really stressful for him, and he's trying to go and not go and give in and have Helen come back so superheroes can come back. And he wants that to happen, and he knows that if Helen goes and dishes out on this, superheroes might not come back. So he's just trying to go and have it be this way. So after that, Helen decides to go, and she gets into this big battle with Screensaver. It's really pretty cool, and it looks like she captured him, some weird pizza guy, but it turns out it wasn't the pizza guy. Nope, Screensaver is still looking out there, and spoiler alert for anyone who's probably watching, it later turns out that Screensaver is Ellen. Yep, Ellen, the one guy's sister. So I kind of thought it was either going to be her or the brother at first. I thought it was going to be one of them. It's just like, yeah, they look very snarky. It has to be one of them. I don't know who, but one of them. And as the film went on and on, I was starting to guess, yeah, it's the sister. I know it is. And I thought she was a pretty cool villain, and her reason to go and do this was because her parents were technically killed because the supers weren't able to save her. Not that it was her or their fault because they were outlawed, but anyway, she holds this grudge with them, and now she's going to try to go and get them outlawed completely. And she does this by going and hypnotizing all the supers and having to go in and do these bad things so they can never do superhero stuff again. So she gets Helen hypnotized, she gets Bob hypnotized, and all these other supers, and she's going to go in and try to just make them bad people, and that they'll never be free again. So it's up to the three kids to go and try to save them, and so all of them can go and try to save the world. It was definitely a really good movie. The fighting in there was, I think it might have been probably better than the first one. Just, we had all these really close punches, where all the characters are going and bouncing off the walls, getting crushed. I really liked the fighting. Maybe it was better than the first one, maybe, I don't know, I'm actually still thinking about that. Because in the first one, I guess you have to go and count on how limited they were at the time, but still here, I really like the fighting. It's really amazing how the animation has changed. When you go and look at the first one and then compare this one, it's quite different from mostly when you look at the humans. The shading is better, the shadows are better. I'm trying to find a word for it, but I really can't think of one. But it is a lot better. You can tell they look more humanish, and they still do look like cartoons, but they do look more real. And back when they first made the first Incredibles, one of the really hard things was doing the hair, especially Violet's. And I'm sure it is still really hard, but it's probably gotten a lot easier. And you can usually tell animation difference in a lot of movies. You can tell the animation difference in the 2 Finding Nemo movies, the 2 Monsters, Inc. movies, and even all 3 Toy Story movies. Even Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2, you can tell the animation difference, and it just goes to show you how just much they've improved in that kind of stuff. The story was also, I think, pretty impressive. Like I said, it was pretty much just about the superheroes trying to come back, and then this one lady is trying to go and prevent them from trying to go and be supers. I always thought they were probably going to do a time skip with Dash and Violet in college, and then Dash or Jack would probably be around middle school or so, and the parents would be getting old. So because of this, it would be up to the kids to become the new superheroes because their parents are just getting too old to go around and throw punches and get kicked around and whatever else. I'm trying to think of anything I was disappointed with. I I was trying to find if Spencer, or whatever his name was, the old guy who voiced Dash in the old movie was in here. I'm not really sure. I didn't see his name in the credits. At first I thought maybe he voiced the pizza guy, but no, he didn't. So I was hoping they'd give him a cameo in here, but it looks like they didn't. I did manage to find A113. And it was at the really end of the movie, and it was in the movie title. I forgot what the full movie title was, but at the very end of the title it had A, and then it had 113 in it. So something A113. I'm not really sure what the movie title was, but I do know that was it. I'm not sure about the Pizza Planet truck. It wasn't in the first movie, so I was wondering if it was going to be in here or not. I didn't catch it because there were several scenes where there were a bunch of cars passing. I was trying to go like, oh, where's it? I'm trying to find it, but I couldn't find it. There were times I thought I may have saw it, but then I was like, oh, no, I think that was probably a taxi. Yeah, it was a taxi. So I couldn't find that. I don't know if it's in there or not. I might look it up later and see if anybody else found it, but I'm not really sure if it is or not. And I didn't see their reference to their next film, Toy Story 4. I'm not sure if maybe they had a Buzz toy lying around, or maybe a Bo Peep toy lying around, or anything like that. I didn't see anything, but usually when you have to catch these things, they go by fast. They're usually on the screen for a few seconds or so, and then they're gone. So you have to be really fast catching it. You can't rewind at a movie theater, so I didn't see it, and I'm not really sure where it was in the movie, but I do know, unlike the Pizza Planet truck, it's most likely in there. So yeah, I think it was a really good movie, worth the wait. I did like the characters. The music was also really good, like the last movie. The voice acting was on. I liked all the fighting. The animation was a lot better. It was incredible. And also one thing I like to point out is that in the last movie they kind of point out how it seems to take place in an alternative 60s. And they went and kind of showed this again by showing a bunch of 60s references, like let me think. It's that one show that's kind of like the Twilight Zone, but I can't think of it right now. But that was in there, and then Johnny Quest was in there, and I guess they had to go and get the copyright for that because I'm guessing Disney doesn't own Johnny Quest. And one thing that surprised me was they cursed or they sweared a few times in this movie, and it just wasn't a few very minor swears like hell. They said that a couple of times, but they said damn, and to hear that in a Pixar movie was incredible. I mean, I was pretty shocked when they said hell in Cars and Ratatouille, and now they're going saying damn. It was pretty shocking. Even saying sucks was kind of quite like, whoa, jeez. Trying to go and get a PG-13 rating there, guys? I'm not really sure if maybe it was rated PG-13 for its violence and its language, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was, but it really shocked me that there was. And so it was a really good movie. This movie pretty much focused on Helen instead of Bob like the first movie did, and I think I am pretty happy that they did do that. I am starting to like Helen more as a character. We got to find out more about her in this movie, so it was really cool. I'm guessing if there's ever a sequel, maybe we'll just have to wait a few years, maybe another 15 again, but if there's ever a sequel, I wonder if it's probably going to focus on the kids this time. So, or if they'll actually do a time skip. Will it take place right at the end of the sequel where they're going off in that car and the boyfriend is left at the movie theater alone? But if there is a sequel, I hope it doesn't take as long, because that means it would have been about 25 years or so in between the movies. No, more like 30 maybe. So, but by then, Brad Bird would probably be retired, so it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I'm not really sure if I liked it more than the first movie. I'll have to think on that one. It still was really good. If I had to place it in my Pixar list, on where it would be in the top 10, I know that. Maybe 9 or 8. I'm still going to be thinking about that. I'm probably going to, at one point, make a video on my list of Pixar movies from worst to best. Because now there's 20 in, that'll be a fun video to make just a little rank on the worst to the best movies, on the Pixar movies I like, so I would definitely have to think really hard on that list. Some of them are pretty obvious to me, but others, it would just be like, no, it should be there. No, I like this movie better. No, but I also like this. And it's going to be really hard to make that list, but I think I will make that video at one point, and you should expect it. So, good movie. Go see it. It's really good. I enjoyed it, and if you've been waiting for this movie as long as I am, I'm sure it will go and get to your expectations. So, thanks for watching, and go off and enjoy that great movie.